it's not enough to try to ban fracking. The people who are making money off of the fracking fluids have to be attacked publicly.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
No, but it should be part of a coalition. It shouldn't just be environmentalists involved.
It's similar to identifying those people who are having their clothes made in the Bangladesh factory that
Yeah,
closed. Say
that's
these people
exactly
making
what I'm
products
saying.
that are, it's a similar argument. On the activism, Representative, we talked earlier that there's the shale basin in the Hart Basin was known for a long time. It came to the head because American Groundwater Trust, which I look at as an interesting name, is an industry-supported organization that promotes fracking, and it held a program in Amherst. We became aware of it. They invited a Sierra Club member to be on the panel. We had someone there, Peter Vickery, who was on the panel, and I called up 350 Mass and said, by the way, Craig, there's a program out there, and they actually ended up putting together an action out there, and they demonstrated. So there was both the Sierra Club approach, the action approach, and now we're following American Groundwater Trust around the country. They've got another program in June in Texas. We've alerted Sierra Club down there and 350.org down there and see what they will do. They had one earlier in 2012 in the Carolinas, so we got their whole agenda and their presentation to see what it looked like. But that's the type of detailed following of these trends you have to do. Just like on the other hand, Phil Sago testified, and I put some written testimony in on the gas carbon tax bill. Now, the Conroy Barrett gas carbon tax coming up.
Frank knows the legislature well, and what you're talking about are maybe some, within Massachusetts, a possible legislative solution, but I suspect Frank would tell us we have a slim chance of getting a lot of action in the current legislative session. So what's the political landscape at the executive level? Where's the governor and EEA? Are they good, bad, or indifferent on this?
We know that the governor has had a very strong track record in promoting clean energy. So as I was saying in the very beginning, we were thrilled to stand with the governor just the other week, where he said, you know, these solar goals that we met or are very quickly to be meeting, we need to quadruple them.
He quadrupled the ceiling.
And
you wrote a letter.
So,
we wrote a letter supporting it to DOER and had that published. So we took different tacks on that, but we covered the ballpark. I took a tack of not only greenness, but the fact that look at the jobs we've created. We've got
Fracking specific.
no. On the clean energy alternatives
Right.
piece.
Where are they on fracking?
I don't know, because I don't think that it has come to be a high enough visible issue that the governor has felt compelled to take a position on it here in
I
Massachusetts.
want to mention that the Undersecretary for Energy, Bobby Cates Garnick, has an energy policy committee, and she's looking for public input.
I raised this with her at a program that James Gordon spoke at, and she said, we aren't really up on that. So I sent her some material and then sent some other material to the Mass Clean Energy Council and are trying to get them up to date on that. But it's not an issue, as you say, it's not an issue that really rises to the top because of the technology and the knowledge of the basin. But as we've seen, fracking wasn't at the top 20 years ago, but it was just starting 20 years ago, and now look how common it is right now. So you've got to think 20 years ahead on these things. Technology will go ahead and find a way to follow this thin seam that curves around in Massachusetts instead of the flat, big seams that you find elsewhere in the country that used to drill horizontally. I'll find that out.
I want to say that we're approaching 2 o'clock. Some people have reserved time for this. We should begin to draw to an end. We have another person who has a minute.
That seam,
No, go ahead, I just have a couple announcements afterward.
that seam runs parallel to the Quabbin Reservoir. It's not right next to it, but it's pretty close to it.
12 miles, starts at Amherst, goes south. The basin, the water basin for Quabbin Reservoir is 12 miles from Amherst. I've done it on a map, I've looked at it, I've seen the thing.
Has
Maybe you want to remind people whose water comes from there.
Right.
Right here.
Mass Water Resources,
MWRA?
yeah. Are
I
they,
haven't contacted, I actually,
Most of the, all the MWRA.
yeah.
yeah, it's all MWRA.
Are they aware of this and the?
I think they are. I remember doing something with MWRA last fall, and I don't remember exactly what it is.
I attended that session out in
Okay.
Amherst.
Oh, you did? Was it good?
Yeah, the point was made by the state geologist that the risk of exploiting this this reserve is really
Right under the
unlikely.
Connecticut River.
I want to
And-
be just a little more optimistic about our ability to move on this issue. It's going to take time. We're going to be up against the oil and gas industry, one of the most powerful industries
They
in the world.
did have speakers. I think they did not control the advanced
They
speakers.
did not. They did not control
And some of the speakers were people who used to work for the shale drilling industry, and they were pretty outspoken about how they ignored restrictions, so-called regulations. So my personal thought is that any regulations, because of the consequence of just one slip up, it's not just the street corner in Newton that might explode, but any one slip up would be just so disastrous in terms of the impact on drinking water, the impact on groundwater in such a large area.
recreation, fishing,
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
You got to talk to the President Pro Tem of the Senate. You got to talk to all the state reps and senators out there who control those areas. Not control, who represent those areas.
And so having a conversation, having
That's
a
what I
conversation
wanted to
about
turn to next
regulation.
time. Because I
So
know you've got some announcements.
one point on this and then a couple of maybe narrower concerns just to remind everyone about. So Rick, if you will send us the name and or before you leave, put down the name and address of the person who's taking comments right now, so we can get that out to everybody.
I'll have to get that to you.
Okay, all right, that's one. Number two of our colleagues have asked that we do announcements of two things today. One is to make sure that everybody here has done personal energy audits of your own homes. It's a different level, but it's an important environmental concern and you can save money. So we have information on that if you have not yet done that. The second one is that the Sierra Club is looking for volunteers to help get signatures in order to put the bottle bill on the ballot. Since not our esteemed chairman right here, but some other members of the legislature seem to be so slow in updating the bottle bill.
We can
So
get
those
out
are
of
the two
committee
issues.
session,
And then the
that'd
third
be
thing, which is not environment, but a pressing issue, is to remind you that on the table were some announcements of next week's discussion, which is about voter suppression back in Mississippi and today with Jim Marshall helping us next week.
I did want to just, I know that when Erica contacted me about doing this, there was an emphasis on people are going to come here and they're going to want to take immediate action. And I'm remiss that I maybe should have put that in my initial remarks because I see we're running out of time. Let me just say a few quick things.
Please do.
So you asked what's the political climate like. I want to let folks know we drafted this bill and within 2 weeks we had 14 co-sponsors, including Representative Smizik on it. Between Environment Massachusetts and 350 and some of our allies, we now have a combined total of 10,000 names on a petition to ban fracking here in Massachusetts. We're looking to work with you, with Representative Denise Provo, with Representative Peter Kokot and other co-sponsors to have an event to deliver those signatures at the State House. The other thing that I think we want to do is figure out a way to work with leadership to make sure we get a hearing on the bill. That's something that I've talked with Representative Provo about, and we would love to hear more about that. One of the things to do, so a couple of things. First, if you haven't signed our petition to ban fracking in Massachusetts, here it is. And this can be a great way for me to keep in touch with you about all of the events going forward, the delivery of the petition event, the hearing that's coming up when we can get it scheduled, etc. Here is a fact sheet that summarizes some of the things I was talking about. Feel free to take that with you. Another thing that we're doing, and of course I feel a little bit silly saying this here, obviously you don't have to call Frank because he's sitting right here, but if you live in the district of one of the other 14 co-sponsors of the bill, what we'd like you to do is call them and thank them. Thank them for their leadership and courage in taking on the oil and gas industry and co-sponsoring this bill, and ask them to ask leadership for a hearing on the bill.
Call yourself.
So those are some easy, quick steps. Sign the petition, call your legislator if they've already co-sponsored the bill, thank them and ask them to ask leadership for a hearing on H788, so we can start getting some movement out there, start changing the political dynamic around this, and move forward. Vermont already did this bill, we can do it here, and I just want to thank all of you for all of your time and attention.
One other thing you can do, in fact, two other things you can do.
Well,
You have an organization someone representing Environment Massachusetts, you have someone representing the Sierra Club. It's not a lot of money to join each organization and to give them the wherewithal to do it. Those are 501c4 funds for us that let us do the lobbying that we need to do, and the same with you.
And you get great emails in order to know what's going on.
Yeah, I sent you all the stuff we put on the articles, and there's a lot of stuff going on. We're looking for volunteers.
absolutely.
I had one serial entrepreneur come to me the other day, and he's on our energy committee, and I sent him a whole bunch of stuff. He came back and said, "This is war." Those were his words, "This is war." And this is a business person. And what one of the things I'm trying to do is to create links with the environmental movement to green businesses to say, look, there's no reason why you can't benefit from having a Sierra Club brand on your website or your products. Same thing with Environment Massachusetts. We got one right now with a company called Energy Sage. You look at Energy Sage, you go on their website or come on our website and link to it, and they will give you, you put your characteristics of your house, your roof, in there, and they will have 4 or 5 people, installers, give you a bid online of putting on a solar system, then come and inspect your property. So you don't have to worry about looking up 5 installers, they're already pre-screened. So things are happening that make it simpler and easier.
And just because we're on camera and the statement, "This is work," can be misinterpreted, I just want to say this is a non-violent organization that uses political action and persuasion to get what it needs out of the democratic process.
Absolutely. We agree.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.